What's up, YouTube? Oh man, it's a lot going on, right? Just when you think you can start focusing on other things, just like in Batman, the Joker always rears his ugly fucking head. Now, before I go in on Polite again tonight, I wanted to say, I wanted to touch on some shit I had heard about him and Minister Enqi saying that Pharaoh needs to go through a rites of passage. Now, all that sounds wonderful if we're talking about a real community. Now, I know we got you guys, we call ourselves the conscious community, as a bunch of brothers and sisters who I want to say are like mine, but that's going way too far. That's stretching that shit, and I'm not going to do that. But it's a community where we're somewhat like-minded, and we somewhat want the same thing, and we somewhat like the same thing as far as talking about our blackness, man, and revisiting our blackness, man. And these two guys making that statement let me know that you've taken this way too far. Like, just because Sarnetta got out, and whenever he got out there and started doing this shit and getting cameras and shit together and recording, having street interviews, thus and so, that does not make you the honorary king. Excuse me, that doesn't make you the legitimate king. You can be an honorary king, but you're definitely not the legitimate king. Now, to say that this kid has to go through a rites of passage, let's examine this. Okay? Let's examine this first from Pharaoh's point of view. You have a young kid walking up to a bunch of brothers and sisters, mainly brothers, that he sees on YouTube TV all the time. Probably listens to their lectures, listens to them go at it with each other, with the Hebrews over information. Now, he walks up, gives his little 2 cents, whether it be what his knowledge, wisdom, understanding, swag, whatever has people gravitating to him, you know what I mean? That's what it is, man. So he got his a following, a certain little buzz. And so with that being said, why does this man have to submit himself to a group of men who, first off, we don't even know you motherfuckers' names? Let's just talk plainly. He doesn't even know your motherfucking name, man. He doesn't, there's no annual conscious community gathering and festival where Enqi and Polight and Sarnetta and Reggie and all these people are. And they're given the tenets of this year's goals for the conscious community, last year's successes and failures and this things. We're not, what are you talking about? What rites of passage? Rites of passage comes from communities, man. Communities have structure. They have hierarchy. They have the fundamental thing that all communities that survive and thrive need is love. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And to run your mouth after you got with Polight, and Polight intentionally set that whole situation up, calling Zion Lex, trying to get him involved in it, all of that shit, man. We seen the text messages, man. You a real slimy piece of shit. And to actually have the audacity to use the term rites of passage right before you get caught doing this fuck shit, which I already knew you were going to do anyway. That's pathetic, man. That's enough to make a lot of people, if black people weren't already strong, man, that would turn a lot of black people off from even wanting to know anything about black people and deal with black people. Because every single time we get these fuck niggas. Enqi, be your own man, man. Be your own man, man. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you used to have some sort of credibility, Enqi, as Minister Enqi. Where's that at? You look real weak right now. You way too old to be doing that bullshit that you doing, man. Polight. You know what, man? I'm going to just go ahead and let you have it right now, man. So I don't really have to do no more videos on you. Brother Polight, you are the worst thing to come through the conscious community since white supremacy. And what I mean by that is all white supremacist groups, factions, trolls that nag away at black people just trying to be black people just trying to learn about black people again, black people trying to remember who black people are and the greatness that we are. You and people like Sonetta, but you, first of all, bring down everything that any righteous lover of information and lover of their community could ever hope to build up. You amass a following using truth, using the emotions of people listening to the truth that you're bringing, only to hide the fact that your intentions are not truthful at all. It's like you're like the Jeepers Creepers thing, man, the monster thing. When the sister was talking about him and telling the kid in the police station about him, saying he walks and dresses like a man, only to hide the fact that he's not. You walked and talked black power, conscious community, all this shit, only to hide the fact that you are none of that. And it's hard for people to understand that shit because black people are so fucking loving and caring and human. So they want to give you the benefit of the doubt. They want to let you come back. Because they try to focus on, remember the positive shit that he brought. But what I be trying to tell people and get people to understand is that these things were merely done to hide the fact that you could care less about those things. None of that shit that you did was for what you say you did it for. And it's apparent now. There's no need to sit there and dwell on that. You're a horrible person, dude. You set that whole event up just so you can knock that kid. You get with Enqi and then turn around and then bash this kid and try to make him look like he's crazy because your story has discrepancies in it. If your story has discrepancies in it, motherfucker, you should deal with the discrepancies, not with the person who's bringing it. But what you chose to do, instead of that, you chose to knock him. He knows why. We all know why you chose to knock that nigga, man. You chose to knock that kid because he's popping right now. That's why you chose to knock him. You chose to knock him because people see the sincerity in him. I think that he did have a troubled past. I think that nigga was playing with pistols just like when I was motherfucking 17, 19 years old, I was playing with pistols. Fuck is what this world leaves you sometime, dog. It's not like we woke up every day and say, yeah, let's be in a world where I gotta play with pistols to prove my manhood so I don't have to even worry about people trying to fuck with me and punk me every day. Like, all these things are missed. All these things are overlooked. White supremacy is overlooked, especially with you, Polight. White supremacy can do no wrong. When you told that man, try to ask that man, what secret societies? Why does he need to name a secret society? So basically what you're telling me is you don't agree that rich groups of Europeans and probably black and African men and women get together for their own benefit, which is usually and generally the detriment to everyone else. You mean to tell me you now you just cannot fathom that happening? You're a funny ass dude, man. Rites of passage. How could you say that, man? Rites of passage is a serious thing. Rites of passage is something that we should be going through. Rites of passage is something that Pharaoh should have had to come up through. But how's he going to come up through a rites of passage through Sarnetta TV? You don't even have like I said, you don't even have an annual gathering day. At least the fucking Hebrews have a fucking picnic.